first half of this season logged and in the record books. And so far, we've seen 4 different racers snatch victory by the slimmest of margins. But now the focus shifts to the West Coast and a dry lagoon set just outside the beauty and tranquility of Monterey, California, with one question looming. Who will kick off part 2 of the 2019 season in the best way? It's time to turn this picturesque, relaxing vacation spot into a smoking hotbed of wheel in the air, elbows out, bar-banging action as the Superbikes of MotoAmerica get fired up right now on FS2. It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Round 6 of 10 for 2019. It's the Championship of Monterey coming at you from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Hi everyone, welcome to the broadcast. My name is Greg White, standing alongside me, Jason Pridmore, who's won 2 of these championships in his career. Now Jason, the EBC Brakes Superbike class, we are halfway through this 2019 championship, and it is time for riders to make some moves if they want to get up there and win this title.
It really is, Greg. Yoshimura Suzuki's Tony Elias started the year very hot, but he let everybody back in with his little slip up at Road America. From there, we went to Utah, a track that we both kind of thought that Yamaha was going to dominate, but Tony did the double there, has all the momentum on his side. Now we step into California. This is Cameron Beaubier's territory in the past. Coming from here to Sonoma, this is where he's got to make a push.
And in terms of, well, riders here, the usual suspects have been fast, including JD Beach. Now, he's one rider who has a crazy schedule because he's racing both MotoAmerica and World Superbike in the same weekend. Let's take a look at his schedule.
Looking at JD's schedule this week, G-Dub, his practices started yesterday morning, 9 o'clock, and you can see there's a lot of time on the track for him between World Superbike, MotoAmerica, and all the way down through Superpole, Race 1, which just happened for us. And obviously, he's just a busy guy. He's got 2 different bikes to try to set up, but they did some testing, and he's not doing so bad. And you can look at the Sunday schedule again. He's got warm-up in the morning for World Superbike, same thing again, warm-up for MotoAmerica. Then he's got a Superpole race, so he's got a 10-lap race. I talked to Stamboli a little bit about that in the World Superbike. That's new to them. And then we got race 2 and race 2 for both other classes.
I think to say that JD Beach and his team are busy, well, that's a bit of an understatement. Check this out.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this weekend, I kind of had a idea that I was going to be doing both series about 2 weeks ago, so at that point I kind of changed my training a little bit and was riding a little bit longer, and like the breaks I take was shorter, and then get right back out there and really try to hammer out a lot of riding. And then this last week just really kind of kick back, or not kick back, but kind of took it easier, just to kind of recover a bit. And so far this weekend it hasn't been too bad. I mean, I've only been out twice, but I don't feel as tired as I thought I would. But so far it's been fun, and we'll see what happens.
I think it's all about coordinating the crew and keeping JD comfortable. We did a test for 2 days at Buttonwillow right before we came up here, Tuesday and Wednesday, so he got real comfortable with the tires. Now it's just a matter of making the bike work for him. Yeah, get through all the little issues he wants to get through, and that way he can hammer come race day.
Well, there's JD. He is on the grid now, getting ready for the World Superbike race. Jason, here's some highlights from the actual race itself. But JD, number 95 in that attack, Performance Essendon Racing Yamaha. He was in a battle.
Yeah, early on, Greg, he was inside the top 10, which he told us earlier in the week was his goal. And you can see he's in there with Laverty, and he's in there with Mercado, also Michael Ruben Rinaldi. He's in there with all the guys that are just battling just outside that top 10. And we started to see him kind of go back, and I was kind of wondering what was going on, and you can see, Greg, he ended up having a mechanical.
Yeah, unfortunately for JD, he didn't get to race the entire race distance. So let's get to Hannah, who has an update on JD, who just got off the track from that World Superbike race. Hannah?
I touched base with Richard Stamboli, and unfortunately, the OEM shift arm on the engine broke. Richard showed it to me in his hand, and it was cracked right in half. So something kind of seemingly so small and insignificant ended the race for him, but JD looked like he was in good spirits and ready to go for this next race here.
Thanks, Hannah, for that. All right, JD, hopefully he's got better luck in the MotoAmerica race because it's coming up. Can JD Beach pull off a win? We're getting closer to it. Stand by. We'll be back after this. Fox Sports coverage of MotoAmerica Superbike racing from Monterey is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the 2019 MotoAmerica Championship.
Welcome back to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca and FS2's coverage of the EBC Brakes Superbike class. So far this season, we've completed 10 out of the 20 races on our schedule. A perfect time for us to look back and see who's done what in 2019.
Here we go, lights go on.
It all started with plenty of drama at Road Atlanta, which saw defending champion Cameron Beaubier outduel Tony Elias for a 2.7-second victory in race 1.
From 11th to the win, Cam Beaubier, race number 1, victorious.
Race 2 was then Elias's turn to take the top spot, this time over Matthew Skoltz, with the new father celebrating the birth of his first child on his victory lap.
That means another month of diapers.
1 week later, it was Circuit of the Americas, a Tony Elias favorite where he squeaked out another win, this time by 0.08 of a second over Beaubier.
And that'll do it. Wow, Tony Elias.
Garrett Gerloff, meanwhile, collected his first podium of the season. Race 2 saw a third different winner in 4 races as Josh Herrin, in his first year on the Yoshimura Suzuki, ran a masterful race to slip by new teammate Elias in emotional fashion.
Josh Herrin will take the checkered flag and victory here at race number 2 at the MotoAmerica Championship of Texas.
At Virginia International Raceway, Matthew Skoltz took an early lead on day 1, but then found trouble crashing out of the competition.
Just a little bit of a gap and tosses it down the road.
Skoltz's misfortune opened the door for a second Cameron Beaubier win. Elias battled his way to a second-place finish despite starting on the 3rd row due to technical issues in qualifying. In race 2, JD Beach took his first career Superbike win just 1 week after winning his first American Flat Track Premier Class race.
And he will take his first EBC Brakes Superbike victory here at Virginia International Raceway.
He's the first rider to win both nationals in the same season since Nicky Hayden in 2002. 4 weeks later, Road America Race 1 found Tony Elias and Josh Herrin fighting down the back stretch, with Elias taking his 3rd win of the season. Despite he and Herrin having a friendly discussion following the ride. The teammates would battle again on Sunday, this time with Herrin earning his 2nd win of the season in Race 2. Elias was poised for another close finish before a late mistake ended his day.
Tony goes down! Your championship points leader locked up the front, and down he goes!
Leaving Elias frustrated and allowing Cameron Beaubier to close the overall championship points gap to a mere 9 points. And most recently, fans in Utah saw the highs and lows of risk and reward on the track. JD Beach entered with high expectations before crashing out.
JD Beach crashes turn 6 and 7. JD Beach goes down.
While Matthew Skoltz took his 2nd podium of the season in race 1, but saw his day end early on Sunday with a red flag causing crash. Meanwhile, reestablishing his turf and a 26-point overall lead, Elias took home double wins at UMC.
After a red flag, will take another win in the EBC Brakes Superbike class.
Beaubier finished 3rd and 2nd, solidifying his current number 2 slot in the standings. Greg and Jason, the real question is, as we head into the second half of the season, will Tony Elias maintain his points lead here this weekend?
Well, that really is the question, isn't it, Jason? And you can see that Tony is 26 points over Cameron Beaubier halfway through the season. Still a lot of points to get, Jay.
No, there's no question. The season is far from over, but I think that big points haul that Tony took at the last round at Utah kind of put the momentum back in his corner, especially after what he did in the second race at Road America. So now we're back in California, as we say, Greg. It's kind of Cameron Beaubier country. It has been. We'll see how he gets on in the next 2 rounds.
Earlier today, Super Pole qualifying was something a little unique for this year. During this year, we got the 1-lap queue back for this one race, and it was Tony Elias who was able to put it on the front row in 3rd position, Jay.
Yeah, and he went out early to do his laps, and we saw him try to get that 2nd lap, try to squeeze a 2nd lap out of that tire, but these are truly just 1-lap tires. Now, I didn't get to see what happened to Cameron in the first sector of his fastest lap, but it was a little bit off. He tried to make up that time, but he couldn't quite get there. Why? Because his teammate Garrett Gerloff, for the 3rd time this season, Greg, is going to start from pole position. A very important spot here at Laguna Seca as you make the run up the hill to turn 1. But not only did he do the lap time that he did, he backed it up with almost the exact same lap time again.
So this is a look at the front row. You can see Gerloff a 123.286, good enough for pole, 1/10 of a second separating himself from his teammate, and then Tony Elias 4/10 of a second back. We're anticipating a very, very close race here in the EBC Brakes Superbike class. All right, we'll take a break. On the other side, we are inching closer and closer to this race start, so don't go anywhere because these three are going to be going at it fast and furiously.
The Dunlop Pro Dealer Program is Dunlop's support program for the local brick and mortar power sport dealer. Rough guesstimate, 85 to 90% of them are family-owned, individual-owned shops. But what the Dunlop Pro Dealer Program does, it helps them as a marketing support mechanism. We give them Pro Dealer exclusive rebates that they can offer their customers to extend a discount. In addition to that, we have DunlopMotorcycleTires.com. On that website, we help the customer find the best tire that fits their bike. And then we have very prominent our dealer locator.
There's been times people have come in, seen us on the Dunlop website listed as a pro dealer and just wondering what we had to offer. Dunlop sends us email information so we can do promotions and send it right directly to the customer.
There's over 2,700 Dunlop Pro dealers in the U.S. So if you go to DunlopMotorcycleTires.com, go to our dealer locator, enter in the zip code or city and state, and you'll find a pro dealer near you.
All right, welcome back to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca as we are preparing for race number 1 of round 6 for the EBC Brakes Superbike class. Look at Jason, let's take a look at the finishers we've had on the podium so far this season. We've had 6 different podium finishers. You can see Tony Elias leads the way with 9 of them.
A couple things that really jump out at me, Greg. Obviously, Tony's got the most wins at 5, and the other one is Josh Herron with 2. Only 2 podiums, but those are both 2 wins.
2 wins, yeah.
So, and of course, we see some historic victories there as well with JD Beach, and we're waiting for Garrett Gerloff to get that first one.
Well, let's get right down to the grid as Hannah is with Kyle Wyman.
Kyle, you've made some big changes to the bike for this afternoon's race, one of them being a new motor from Corsa. Tell us a little bit about some differences maybe that you've noticed this weekend so far.
You know, the thing comes off the corner a little bit better, and it's definitely running clean. So, you know, more than anything, good to have a fresh motor underneath us because we had the same stock one all year long up until yesterday. So, no, we're having a pretty good weekend. I feel like we've been able to harness a lot of our variables today and yesterday and start to really maximize what we have. I feel like we're getting everything out of what we have. So why not throw the kitchen sink at it and put a big change in the front end for this afternoon's race and see if it doesn't put us up in the next group.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Best of luck out there. Now, if you haven't been following us, one of our very own riders, JD Beach, is pulling double duty this weekend. He is racing. He just raced in the World Superbike race and unfortunately had to retire due to a bit of a technical issue. Something broke, and he's ready to go for this race right now, so let's catch up with him. JD, how are you feeling after that first race? I know you didn't get to complete it, but are you ready to go for this one?
I was born ready. Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm a little tired, but, I mean, I'm here to race, and I think this is going to be a great race. It's kind of nice starting on the second row compared to whatever row I was before, but, no, I'm feeling good. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be a fun race.
All right, best of luck out there. He doesn't really seem very tired to me. I don't know what you guys think. One of the other guys that I'm really interested in talking to is our pole setter this weekend. Said he was kind of struggling with consistency this weekend, but did 2 really fast laps during our super pole. Garrett, how are you feeling going into this race right now, knowing that you're starting from the first spot on the grid?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling great. Bike feels good. Everything feels good on the siding lap. So just looking forward to a clean, consistent race, hopefully. And yeah, I just want to be there at the end fighting. And, you know, it's going to be close. The qualifying, I think, is kind of just, you know, it's just those couple laps. But I feel good. So we'll see.
Do you think you have the pace to stay up front without that sticky tire?
Yeah, no, we've been consistent all weekend. So I think we definitely got pace. And I don't know, I'm going to go for it. My buddy Caleb won the Twins race. So all the pressure's on me now.
Thanks, Garrett. Best of luck out there.
Well, Garrett Gerloff seeming pretty loose, ready to go racing, and so are we. We'll take a break. When we come back, Tony Elias, can he do it again here at Laguna Seca? Welcome back. Oh, good look at that Ducati before our replica. It's Carl Fogarty, the World Superbike legend, as they release that number 1 plate 916 paint scheme replica. Absolutely spectacular. So here we go, Jason Bridmore. It's Laguna Seca track back 2.2 miles, and it is fantastic. Up and down it goes. It's got dips. It's got some crazy things, including something called the corkscrew. Famous, been around here since 1957 in this dry lagoon, and it has held some spectacular racing, has defined championships. Jason, that's a look at the Dunlop track map. But let's get to the Suzuki Hotspots, because there's a lot of good places here that make a difference at Laguna Seca.
There's no doubt. There's a very historic site. Turn 1 here is probably a turn that doesn't get spoken of enough, Greg, because turn 1 is blind and wide open, and you come down here to our first real prime spot to pass into turn 2. But it really depends how you get up over turn 1. I know a lot of riders set their bikes to get up over that thing as good as they can so they can go through this kind of double apex turn 2. After you go through 2 flat turns, the flattest turns 3 and 4, you're going to come up into turn 5, and this is where we're going to start our climb up to that famous corkscrew. This is a bank turn, Greg, that if you get in early enough, you can take advantage of that camber. We've seen some guys fall off there because they turn in a little bit late, or they just trail brake a little bit too long. Look at that view, Greg. Turn 6. This is a very fast turn, and this view that we're seeing now doesn't do justice of how uphill this is right here. On the track walk the other day, I rode a bike, about killed myself. Anyways, coming down here through the corkscrew, again, very infamous area, and you can see they've done some stuff down through there into the famous Rainey curve, that left-hander that's on our screen now, turn 9. Named after Wayne Rainey, of course, who won a lot of Grand Prix here and 3-time MotoGP champion. Into turn 11, Greg, our real last turn. I call this turn, Greg, the most important, least important corner in our series, because it's a slow corner that if you continue to try to get in there, overcook it, it can cause big trouble, but it can also ruin your drive onto this very big long straightaway.
Love this track, very technical. Laguna Seca, as there we have a look at Matthew Skoltz, who is focused and getting ready to start this race. We're going to take a break. You heard those horns fired up. Can Cameron Beaubier get another win here and kick off California in the right way? Stand by. We're coming back. Fox Sports coverage of MotoAmerica Superbike racing from Monterey is brought to you by EBC Brakes, the official brake of the 2019 MotoAmerica Superbike Series. All right, Jason, let's take a look at our starting grid. Earlier on in this broadcast, we saw who the top 3 were. Let's look on down. So you have Garrett Gerloff on the right. He's on pole. Beaubier and Tony Elias.
Yep, and then you got J.D. Beach, Matthew Skoltz, and Jake Gagne are going to be just outside of row 2. Great run by Jake Gagne this morning. Jake Lewis, Josh Herron, who unfortunately just ran out a little wide in turn 11 and had his best lap scrapped. Kyle Wyman you saw there on row 3. Dave Anthony, Cam Peterson, Jason Uribe back with us again after his good finishes in Utah. And then we're going to go back to row 5. Pacific Northwest, Jeremy Coffey, Sam Rodrigo, and Max Flinders are going to round out our field.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on number 2, Josh Herron. He was 3rd at the time, and he jumped up into 3rd on, he would have been on the front row. At least that's the way it played out until he got that penalty for exceeding track limits.
He just came out of turn 11 on a very good lap and ran out a little bit wide, got on the green part that we've seen, and you can see here, you see that green as they go up out of turn 6, Greg. He did that out of turn 11, so everybody's on their warm-up lap, and just couldn't be a more beautiful day. A lot of people here. I mean, I don't know if you walked around through our paddock earlier, but there's so many people down in our paddock, which is great.
Did your Sharpie run out of ink signing autographs, Jason?
I've been through 10 of them, Greg. 10
Yeah,
of them, It's hard.
I can imagine.
It's hard work. I had to borrow from you.
Oh, good one. All right, so yeah, you can see Jake Gagne is back there on the Scheibe Racing Hayes Brakes BMW, the white bike, and they got to test a couple of days ago, and it was proved to be a really good test for Jake Gagne, and also the legs healing up pretty well. Last couple riders coming down through the final bits of this racetrack into turn 11. They'll take the grid, and then we're going to get this race underway. Set for 23 laps, Jason.
Yeah, here we go. I mean, I think that, this is a good way to kick off the second half of our season. We're here under the California sun. And, I think Cameron has a little more in the tank. I don't think he did the qualifying laps that he quite wanted to do this morning. So we'll see how that goes. I know he's going to want to lead.
So here we go. It's race number 1 of the EBC Brakes Superbike class. Lights are on, they're off, and clutches are out. Tony Elias with a good launch, looking at Josh Herron coming up from the third row, the number 2. Oh, JD Beach trying to go up the inside. He's got good position there on the number 2 as they bend it into turn number 2.
Josh Herron up to second from 8th on the grid. Big crash behind everybody there, Greg. That looks like, is Jason Uribe for sure. And I'm looking to see who else it was. I'm looking for Kyle Wyman. Did you see him anywhere up in this front little group? But right now we got Tony Elias out front, Josh Herron next, and here you go.
It's Kyle,
Jason Uribe and Kyle Wyman have gone down in turn 2. Tony Elias leads. Josh Herron from that third row comes up, but Cameron Beaubier makes a quick pass on him as they go into turn 5. Herron's not going to be able to close it back up underneath him. Garrett Gerloff in 4th.
23 laps scheduled for this one. Tony Elias leading the way on that Yoshimura Suzuki. Monster Energy, Yamalube, Yamaha Factory Racing's Cameron Beaubier, the defending champ. We feel like he's got to really pull the trigger and start getting points back on Elias. Well, you can see how quickly that Yamaha turns. Sloppy work by Elias.
Did you see how he went down through that through the corkscrew? And there's Kyle Wyman up and okay. Jason Uribe, such a shame. Cameron Beaubier fires it up underneath Tony Elias in turn 10 right off the bat, runs wide. Is that going to let Herron slide up underneath both of them? It looks like it is, Greg. Josh Herron slides up underneath. Garrett Gerloff loses the front, but somehow saves it.
Gerloff had lost the front for a moment, gathers it back up, and just like that, they are shuffling all over this racetrack, practically 4 wide in turn 11. There was no real estate for that. Here comes Gerloff, the 31, trying to make a move up the inside, but it's going to be Josh Herron who leads the way.
Matthew Schultz slides up underneath JD Beach through the middle of turn 2 there, Greg, and right now, Herron took advantage of Cameron Beaubier going up underneath him in turn 10. He ran wide, slowed up Tony's progress, and Josh Herron was able to slide up underneath them both. But now Cameron Beaubier is going to go hard at work here, Greg. This is the view out the front of his bike. He's going to try to go up underneath him as he does into turn 5. Same move he did a lap ago to Josh Herron's teammate.
So there goes Cam Beaubier, the number 1. On that blue motorcycle, Herron is on number 2. 24 is in 4th place. That's Tony Elias, as Garrett Gerloff is now in 3rd spot.
Garrett Gerloff did the same thing to Tony that Cameron Beaubier had done to him the lap prior. And here comes Herron having a look as they go up into the corkscrew. It's not going to be any doing. Now, this is what Cameron Beaubier wants right now. He wants clear air in front of him. He wants to be able to run the lines he wants to run and try to get away from these guys. We can already see a gap starting to form between Herron and Gerloff now.
Just looking at the attitude, though, of number 2, Josh Herron's motorcycle, it looks really, oh, wow, there's a different line.
Wow, he got out wide, Greg. He just got out wide, and that's going to prevent him from turning the bike in where he wants to, and that's going to kill his drive on the exit of turn 11.
That's time lost right there as Beaubier goes 25 flat across the line. Herron with a 25.6, so it looks like he lost about 0.4 of a second. Can he claw it back up?
Just behind JD Beach, has gone back past Matthew Schultz, and you can see on the back of them is Jake Lewis. Got to give Jake Lewis a nod. He's sitting on the back of these guys. But JD Beach, he got a great start, as you said, but all of a sudden he just got kind of shuffled back, Greg, very early on that first lap. But now we've got some normalcy just kind of at the front. All 4, 5, 6 riders are kind of fall back into line. And they've closed the gap back up to Cameron Beaubier after his mistake in turn 11. After Herron's mistake in 11, he's kind of closed that gap back up. What a start from him from the 3rd row.
Absolutely. We told you JD Beach is doing double duty, World Superbike and MotoAmerica Racing. This year for the Attack Performance team, they had 1 bike last year, and they were swapping tires, doing everything. You heard that JD had a DNF because of a mechanical, but that's a different motorcycle. They have 2 motorcycles this year trying it out, so a little bit different settings in that bike for the different tire manufacturers. So JD was able to jump on a fresh motorcycle and give this a go as he circulates in 5th spot. So we thought for a moment that Beaubier might have a bit of an advantage as Herron had a miscue in turn number 11, but now we're 1 lap away from that, and everything is closed back up, and Garrett Gerloff is looking very fast at this point in 3rd spot.
Herron just got an unbelievable drive, and it almost looked like Cameron Beaubier missed a shift on the exit of turn 11, so that's going to allow Josh Herron back through on the Yoshimura Suzuki as they roll down into turn 2. So Tony Elias slides up underneath Garrett Gerloff as he gets in there a little deep. This is the kind of track that can happen on. If you get in there a little bit deep in places and you're running a little bit wide, it's hard to get the bike back online. And if you open the door, someone will slide up underneath. There's a 24.9 by Herron.
24.9, this is the pace that we really were talking about expecting this race to be in. Probably 24.9s, even as low as 24.7s.
You see what Josh Herron did there? He just closed the door. I mean, I like seeing that. Herron learned from the lap or two before when Cameron Beaubier slid up underneath him. And all Josh simply did is he moved over to the left a little bit just to deflect any thoughts that Cameron Beaubier might have to go up underneath him as he runs a little bit wide.
So Herron, that's a little dangerous in turn 6. So Cameron Beaubier will take the lead again. Things so snug up through the corkscrew. That's a one-line affair at the moment. Down the hill into Rainy Curve they go. 6 riders relatively close at this point. You can see that just off the back you have Matthew Skultz and then Jake Lewis on that M4 X-Star Suzuki. That Westby Racing Yamaha is the gold and black. That's number 11 Skultz.
You can see it's when one guy kind of checks up in the middle of 11, when you're this close, it kind of checks everybody else up behind you. Cameron able to come across the line that time at a 25.4. So as you can look a little bit further back, JD Beach now makes a bid to take 4th place away from Garrett Gerloff. He's going to get that position, Greg. Maybe not. Garrett Gerloff fighting back hard on the outside. Is he going to do something with him in turn 3? He is. He's going to let off the lever. These guys have gone side by side for 2 whole corners. JD tries to cut it back up underneath him. Isn't going to be able to make it.
Yeah, he's messing up the flow of Gerloff at the moment is JD Beach, which is exactly what he wants. But Gerloff losing touch now by about 10 or 12 bike lengths off of Elias. And there is this battle. It keep raging up front. How close do you like that racing?
Yep, really, really close. As you saw, Herron had gone in. Oh, this is going to be hard now for Herron to make this turn.
He's off. Can he save it? No, and down goes Herron.
Yep.
And we saw that coming. Deadly turn number 6. Big bump.
Yep, and when you're going up into turn 6 and you're side by side, you put yourself in a position, and that's exactly what Josh did. Didn't really do anything wrong per se, Greg, but it's very tight as you enter turn 6.
So Josh Herron off the racetrack and down. He's sitting up. Corner workers off to work. Here's another look at it, Jay.
And you can see it wasn't like anything really bad happened. Cameron just was taking the line away, and Herron just got pushed off the track ever so slightly. The problem is when you miss that tip-in point, as you see here, you don't really have a lot of track to slow the motorcycle down before you get off into the gravel. Just happy to see Josh is up and okay, or at least sitting up and appeared to be okay.
Yeah, we really call that a position crash. It was just a bad position to be in. It wasn't like Cameron pushed him off the line. There just wasn't the line to tip in.
Yep.
And there's a big bump in turn number 6 that can completely upset the chassis, and that's what we saw. So now Herron, one of our favorites, is out of this one, up and walking around. Good for Josh. So back up front we go. Now all of a sudden, Jason, here we go. Familiar territory. A lot of ruckus going on around us, but yet there's Tony Elias. He turned around and had a look over his shoulder to see an eye full of the 31.
That's exactly right. And Tony's the guy that's just been kind of keeping his nose a little bit clean right now. He's watched some of the stuff going on in front of him. So he's probably going to just sit there for a little bit. He knows he's got, what, Greg? We still have 17 laps left in this race. He's not going to want to let Cameron get too comfortable, but as long as Cameron keeps going past, Cameron Beaubier that is, as long as he keeps going by that start-finish line and seeing +0 on his board, Cameron Beaubier is going to know that Elias is there.
Great line down the corkscrew from Garrett Gerloff, our pole sitter, who's just shown tremendous speed lately. It's just a matter of getting this race put together. Gerloff, we know, Jason, from watching him race when he was dominant in the Super Sport class just 2 seasons ago, clear traffic in front of him is what he likes. Or clear track in front of him, no traffic is what he likes, is how he sets that fast lap. So now Gerloff has got to think about, okay, where can I get this done? But he lost some out of 11. As you can see, a little bit of a gap now between the top 2. Is Tony going to do it?
Well,
he's going to dive bomb him. Into turn 2 he goes. Can he get it turned, or is Beaubier going to sneak back underneath?
And he does. And Tony almost looked over as if to say, yeah, I know. I got in here a little deep. He's going to try something in turn 3, though, Greg. This is what he does. He just goes right to the apex. Cameron's going to be able to square that corner up, it looks like, and go back by him before turn 4. And this is a little thing that can happen a lot at Laguna. Now Tony's going to get it up off the meat of the tire earlier. Try to go back by him in turn 5. Let's see if he can make that happen. As he is, Greg, goes right to the apex. Turns it in now. It'll be a little bit harder for Cameron Beaubier to go up underneath him. And what does it do? It closes up Garrett Gerloff and JD Beach to the front.
They were like, thanks a lot. Oh, and Gerloff, he's got to drive on his teammate. So Gerloff's going to sneak it under in that dip turn number 6. So Gerloff gets the spot for the moment as Beaubier looks like he's going backwards.
Well, and if Tony had something to look back, he'd be so happy to see Gerloff do that right there. But you can see 2 guys went into turn 6 together. 2 of them came out. Cameron kind of felt that Garrett was there and did what he needed to do. But look at this racing, Greg. Garrett is just all over the back. He's going to fire a shot maybe as they get down to turn 11. He is close enough.
Is Garrett Gerloff, the number 31, going to do it? He goes up the inside. He shoots right to the apex. He'll take over the lead. He twists the grip on his R1, and now it's going to be the run to the line. But Tony Elias with a good drive, and just like that, Elias back at it. Here comes J.D. Beach.
J.D. Beach is now going by Cameron Beaubier as they go down, and Cameron just lets off the brake lever and just goes right across the front. Now Matthew Schultz is there. Jake Lewis is just beyond these guys, going, come on, guys, just a little bit more, and I can get up in there with you. What a battle we have right now at the front.
Crazy action going on here in the EBC Superbikes race class from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. There goes Garrett Gerloff on the brakes. He'll think better of it for the moment.
He wanted to fire off another shot, didn't he? It looked like he just wanted to go back through. But right now, all this is happening is just messing up the flow of what the Yamahas can do. I feel like that's what Tony's doing. I thought he might sit there, Greg. I said there's 17 laps to go. He might be a little bit patient. The +0, throw all that out the window because Tony decided right off the bat, Tony Ellis decided, I'm going to go past. I want to lead this race, and I want to do whatever he wants to do with the pace. And we're going to look at the pace. These guys right now are running in the 26s, high 26.7 that time for Tony Elias, with the best of 24.9. Now let's see if Garrett Gerloff does something else. Look at the drive he's trying to get out of turn 11. Not quite close enough this time.
The MotoAmerica EBC Brakes Superbike freight train in action as we normally see it this year. Jason, though, we're getting to the point here, 8 laps in, now going to be 9 laps, where the bike starts to free up a little bit for Tony Elias. You can see the drive he got out of 11 and down the hill. The fuel load starts to lighten up and the bike starts to work a little better the way he likes it. And this is dangerous times unless you can put a wheel in front of Tony Elias. He might start eking away.
Yeah, and this is really the thing is when you look at the championship points, this guy out front has actually, I'm not going to say dominated, but you saw in our graphic earlier, he's got 5 wins. That one DNF he had at Road-America really hurt his points. But he's been able to control the races this year. And when he is on brand new tires and a full fuel load, he's not at his best. Cameron Beaubier, on the other hand, has been at his best. But as the fuel load goes down and these tires get worn, Tony's able to still keep up that pace. So this is definitely something that these two guys behind on those Yamahas want to try to fix there. As you see Max Flinders coming into the pits, looked like he had a problem.
So Max Flinders looks like he's going to be out of this one. Tony Elias aggressive into the corkscrew. We've seen this a lot from Tony Elias this season where he just gets on the brakes and still slowing that motorcycle down at almost full lean angle. So you have Yoshimura Suzuki's Tony Elias, number 24, leading the way from number 31, Garrett Gerloff, on that Monster Energy Yamaha factory racing machine, looking for his first win in the EBC Brakes Superbike class. Right behind him on board, that's Cameron Beaubier on that Monster Energy Yamaha factory racing machine. Then J.D. Beach right behind into turn 2. Down in there you can see Cameron starting to get aggressive on the Estenson Racing Attack Performance Yamaha. Westby Racing Yamaha behind him with Matthew Schultz on board. And in the 85 and 6th spot is Jake Lewis on the M4 X-Star Suzuki. Hannah, what's going on?
You may have noticed the number 32 Shybe Racing BMW is not on the track right now. Jake actually pulled in. I guess he said during the sighting lap he was feeling something wasn't quite right, something with the electronics, and you know, obviously it felt like he was not able to continue the race, so he retired at this time, unfortunately.
Yeah, they have been struggling with just little issues with the electronics all weekend. One of the biggest things, Jason, was the fact that they run the BMW electronics. This hill that they're on right there is so steep that they think that the electronics are fooled, thinking the bike's actually creating a wheelie, and so wheelie control as they were climbing the hill was kicking in. So Jake told me before this race that they were going to shut off wheelie control altogether. So wow, they're still working on it, trying to get that whole situation sorted, and it's a shame to see that Gagne and his team are out of this.
Well, there's a BMW team in the paddock this weekend, World Superbike. Maybe they can go knock on the door and try to sort some of that out. Electric gremlins are the worst. I think Cameron Beaubier is going to want to try to do something with his teammates soon. There's a little breath of air that's getting between first and second place right now, Greg, and you can see now Cameron Beaubier takes a shot. He's going to run wide, though. He's not going to be able to get the bike slowed. Garrett Gerloff's going to slide back up underneath him. Fastest lap of Cameron Beaubier's race was just that last one, and he's going to take another shot, but he's not quite close. But that's a very hard place to do it in turn 3. But he doesn't want to see that gap get too much bigger. Right now, Elias had a half a second on Gerloff as they came across the line, and Tony Elias had dropped back into the high 24s to Garrett Gerloff's 25.1. So we see that half-second gap. That's why you're starting to see Cameron Beaubier get a little bit frantic and want to try to get through. It's really, you can see too, Greg, it really, when these guys get into the high 24, low 25s, it starts to spread those 6 guys out again. As Matthew Schultz, that last time by 25.3, not that far off these guys, but enough to put him now 2 seconds back of the leader on his Yamalube Westby Racing R1.
Down through Rainy Curve they go, great onboard shots. But yeah, I think that attempted pass on Garrett Gerloff heading into turn, oh, no Schultz!
I just saw that he wasn't in the back. That's down in the chicane. That's going to be left-right, so he was pushing. I just made mention that gap had just started a little bit, and you can see Matthew's obviously frustrated with himself. It looks like he probably lost it in the right coming down through the corkscrew. So Tony Elias goes by again with another 24.9. The 2 guys behind him respond with a 25 flat, 25.1. Now we're down to 4 guys. So we've lost Heron, and we've lost Matthew Schultz at the front.
And Jake Gagne as well.
And Jake Gagne as well. So we had a little bit of attrition in this race so far.
So now's the time as we get close to this halfway, just past the halfway point now. Gerloff has got to be thinking about the urgency of his teammate really pushing him forward. Does Gerloff have anything? It's this position where Garrett Gerloff gets so frustrated. It's just so close to his first win. It's just up the road a bit.
Yeah, it's right there, isn't it? I mean, and he's done pretty well to match the first 2 splits here of Tony Elias. Garrett Gerloff has matched the first 2 splits exactly. So I'm trying to look up on our screens here to find out where Elias is a little bit better than the other 2. And the first 2 splits, all these guys are doing the exact same thing, including J.D. Beach, who's just back there on that attack Yamaha. So he's trying to hang in with these guys right now. 25.1 that last time for J.D. Beach. Good look at him, just off the track. Probably about 25 minutes before this race, he was out in World Superbike. And Garrett Gerloff has closed that gap back down now.
All right, so the gap has closed here as we get ready to go. 11 laps to go in this one. Who has got it in the second half of the race? This is the part of the race where things get awfully exciting. So Jason coming down into turn 2. Before that, we saw Tony Elias look down on his dashboard. Is that something you typically see, or?
It's kind of weird because I've seen Tony do that a few times this year as the year has gone by, and almost even again there. And I don't know if it's lap time. A lot of these guys will have lap timers on their bikes, and they'll have predictable lap times. They'll tell him if they're up, if they're down. And so if he's trying to pace himself, he might be able to do that. A lot of track day riders run those things too, and I don't like it as much for the track day guys, but when you're at this stage and you have the experience that Tony Elias does, he's able to look down and he can kind of predict his own lap times, and he knows the pace that he needs to run lap after lap after lap, but he's not doing it so much for the speed and how fast he can go and trying to set new lap times, but he'll do it as a way to be able to pace himself throughout the race. And but right now Garrett Gerloff is all over him. 25.3 that last time by. So Tony Elias almost dropped almost half a second in the last couple turns or laps, and Garrett Gerloff has just gotten a little bit more racy. 24.9 that last time by for the 31 of Garrett Gerloff.
I kind of thought maybe at this late stage, as tire wear happens, that maybe he's looking at a different map, that they have the ability to switch. So
absolutely,
it could have been, it could be any one of those things. As we see now, we have a 3-rider battle. Is interesting, man, is J.D. Beach is just hanging right there, isn't he?
And Tony has a long look over his shoulder. I'm not really sure what that's for. I mean, it's really unusual to see him do that. Like, he took a big look to see who was back there, what was going on, maybe just to see how many guys were still in that group. So hopefully he doesn't have a problem. But I think that the guy that's going to be comfortable with this is, here you go, Garrett Gerloff's taking a shot into turn 5 right now.
On the inside, he bends it in. You can see the aggressive nature of which Garrett Gerloff snatched that brake lever, sending his R1 sideways. Is Tony going to let him have it? No. He'll take it over in 6. Ooh, they were running out of real estate.
That's what happens.
And that's going to allow Beaubier to sneak on through. Big wheelie from Beaubier's R1. Who's going to have it going into the corkscrew? Beaubier's got the line. He bends it in. He has it for the moment, and really Elias had to check up for a second.
He did so good to control his apex speed to Cameron Beaubier there at the top. I was just getting ready to say, the guy who looks the most relaxed and happy right now, and the fact that Tony has not got away, is Cameron Beaubier. His teammate brought him back up to the rear wheel of Tony Elias, and I'm kind of wondering, Greg, does Tony have a problem? We've seen this from him before. Tony has this innate ability to fall back a little bit if he wants to, and always finds that way of coming back into the race. So we're going to continue to watch, and as I say that, he goes right back by Cameron. Let's see if Cameron lets go of the lever when they get down here into turn 2. Nope, he's not able to do it.
Elias using the strength of the GSXR 1000, that grunt off the corner out of turn 11, which gets him by Beaubier into turn number 2. So if Tony Elias has something going on, which I think, Jason, is more, it would be tire wear more than anything, because it's only been a couple tenths of a second that have varied from his fastest lap. Last time by, Tony Elias did a 26.5.
Right.
So I just think maybe that's what's going on. He's feeling maybe some movement on the bike.
But it's crazy how we've just dropped a second, like a full second. And we saw Tony look back, and maybe he just wanted to just see who was there, what was going on. But I think that he doesn't want to let Cameron Beaubier get to the lead here and control the pace. And we've seen it time and time again this year. When Cameron's able to do something, Cameron had a clean run from this point all the way down to turn 11. But Tony Elias and the Yoshimura bike were able to just out-grunt that Yamaha down the front straightaway and pass him back. And the lines that he runs, I've said it time and time again, don't want to get people tired of it, but see how tight he is on the entry to 10? There's nowhere for Cameron Beaubier to really go there. It's very, very difficult for him to make a pass. So he's got to try to go right to the apex of turns, kind of the way Tony Elias does it, in order to make a pass, that is.
To the front straight. This will be 8 laps to go in this one.
See that? You can see it right from the front of Cameron Beaubier's bike. Tony Elias just pulls away from him as they go up that hill, as they go up over the top of turn 1. Tony got it backed in a little bit. They're both going to get a little bit wide in the middle. Not going to hurt him because he's going to get a good exit off of here. You can see he'll pull that gap out just a little bit.
Call that a double
see how
apex.
tight he is again? He's tied into there again. So this is a great view for us to actually look back, and you can see the difference in lines. You can see the difference in how guys want to take corners. And Tony Elias, even on his exits, and see the bike bucking around. Cameron's going to have a shot into turn 5.
To the lead goes Cameron Beaubier into turn number 5 again. Now for Tony Elias. He's got to keep Cameron. Got to keep him honest, Jason, because Cameron looks like he's got some pace. Ooh, he got a good run through
Great
6.
Run. Yep. But the grunt of the Yoshimura bike just seems it'll draw him back up on the back, and we know how good Tony is on the brakes. Elias is on the brakes. And you see he's drawing up on the back of him again. What Cameron Beaubier really needs right now is that 31 bike to go on past if he's able to. Tony Elias runs a really tight line all the way down through Rainy Corner, and you can see if it ended now, 31, I believe, what is it, 26 coming into this. So that was probably, graphic was probably made when Tony was leading.
Yeah, exactly.
2 turns ago. So
Tony trying to square that corner up and get the drive he wants. He's got it. Is he going to switch to the inside, or is Tony going to have to check up a little bit? Roll that throttle up. There goes Tony. Dive bomb to the apex of 2. Oh, that was a late one. That was really, really late. Cameron, was he expecting it? Yep, there he goes.
Yeah, and the thing is that Cameron, and here comes Tony Elias again down into turn 3. He just has the ability to do that, and Cameron's going to square it back up now, and we're going to see this. We saw that a couple of laps ago. When Cameron came out of turn 11 that time, I liked the fact that he moved over to the left. You've got to try to do something to block Tony from going by. If you cover that inside, make him go down the outside. Now Cameron is in trouble because he's got his teammate Garrett Gerloff going up underneath him into turn 5. So what is happening? Tony Elias is doing a tremendous job of controlling the pace of this race.
So Gerloff went underneath Beaubier, but he got back around. Oh, Beaubier, it looks like he made a bit of a mistake in 6. Now Gerloff's going to go side by side. Beaubier has to check up. So that's a position for the moment. All the while, Tony Elias has got 3 or 4 bike lengths to play with of a lead. And JD Beach hanging back there. Ironman JD Beach is right there. Not taking any shots if he's got anything in the gas tank. And Beach has got to start moving forward.
And 0 shot against JD Beach. But the reason why he is still there is because these guys are getting in each other's way, tripping each other up. JD Beach, being the veteran that he is and the smart guy that he is, he's sitting there going, hey, you guys just keep pounding on each other. I'm sitting right here. I'm waiting. I'd love to get a podium right now. We heard him say that to us yesterday, Greg. He wants a podium in MotoAmerica this weekend. That was his goal. Top 10 World Superbike, podium chance in MotoAmerica. Today in the World Superbike race, he was running in that top 10 position at one point.
So Tony Elias leads the way from Garrett Gerloff. Cameron Beaubier and JD Beach with lap traffic ahead. Will lap traffic play a role in this outcome? So a couple more corners And they're going to, there goes Sam Vertorico on the 17.
And Jeremy Coffey. So these guys should, you can see Jeremy Coffey does a great job of just moving right out of the way. Good for Jeremy. He gets out of the way, and these other guys are trying to get by Sam Vertorico now. So Vertorico tries to move out of the way. All 4 of these guys are clear now of the back markers that they just came across.
So Vertorico's going to fall back there with Coffey as well, because there's certain etiquette about gaining an advantage when lap traffic comes by if you're battling, and those two were battling, the 42 and the 17. As we continue to rage it up front, less than 5.5 laps to go as we come down the hill into turn number 11.
And I did see, look back there, Sam did let Jeremy by, so that's class act from him.
Yep.
This battle at the front is going to continue, though, and we're going to look at lap times again. These guys are almost a full second the last time by. And now, again, they dropped down into the 25.4.
Jason, you called it earlier. I mean, you just think that Tony's got a bit of an issue. He's looking around. He's looking down at his dashboard. You think maybe the tire's gone off. He's assessing what's going on. And then he just has this way. He just needs a little bit of time to get it sorted and figure out how to get this bike around the racetrack as fast as possible with what I have available. And he's doing it again.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is you don't want to, I don't want to say anything that sounds horrible, but he almost makes it look easy sometimes to be able to control the pace, because if somebody goes by, he just is able to go back past. And it doesn't matter if it's grunt out of the last corner, if it's a pass into turn 2, if it's straightening between turns 2 and turns 3 and getting by, he just figures out a way to just kind of roll back by, control that pace again. And that's exactly what it seems like to me that he's doing. And the other two guys, I don't want to say that they're frustrated, but it's probably got to be a little bit frustrating to see how Tony is able to just kind of get by them fairly easily. And now he's coming down into Rainy Corner. When they come by this next lap by, Greg, they'll have 3 or 4 to go.
This late in the race, Dunlop tires, who's got it underneath them? It's really important, isn't it, Hannah?
Yeah, you were commenting on, you know, is Tony having trouble with rear tire wear? I just wanted to point out to you guys, Garrett is on a super soft rear, while Cam and Tony are on the extra soft rear. So I don't know if you can kind of tell who's able to maintain their tire longevity, but I just wanted to point that out.
You know, I think that one of the things, Hannah, that when we look at, when Tony looked back, it was still fairly early to me. We were just past midway point, Greg. So when Ilias looked back then, I don't know if it was so much of a tire wear. Now it just seems like he's trying to get his head down. 25.1 that last lap, only 2/10 off of his fastest. And right now, it looks like he's trying to pull the pin and try to get an even faster lap. Look at that, Greg. What just popped up?
Yeah.
First split.
First split. We
Purple.
saw on our screen as Tony spins that rear tire, and you can see that shock just aggravated as it bounces up and down, but Tony doesn't care. 22.2, the fastest first split of the race.
I could just see the attitude change from turn 2 to turn 3 even before he went through that first split. I could just see it in his body that okay, there's time to go. We've got 3 to go. Let me see if I can break these guys with 3 to go, run a very, very fast lap. Here we go. Is this great shot of all these guys coming down through the corkscrew earlier in the race when Cameron was leading.
I was just looking at the attitude of that Yoshimura Suzuki and seeing how the shock works, and it just looks like they have it dialed in. Not too much squat on that one, so it's not, you know, spinning out.
Yep.
Looks really great. So Tony Elias, 24, leads the way. Garrett Gerloff has his way in terms of he only has Tony in front of him, and he doesn't have Tony messing up his line. So if Garrett's got something, if the desire to win this race and his motorcycle is set up to do it, he's going to start going. He's got to not let Tony get that far out.
And essentially, Tony Elias just matched his best lap of the race. 29.950 is his fastest, 24.997. So with 3 laps to go, he is
no
literally trying.
No,
0 tire problems. This is just a masterful job from a guy with a lot of experience, a world champion, managing the pace of a race. Had nothing to do with tires. This is him just managing things.
So with perfect conditions out here, you saw earlier on the Suzuki weather that it was around 63 degrees. The wind's blowing a bit. 13 degrees is kind of blowing blustery from time to time. But it's great conditions in terms of temperature for the racetrack, the tires, and of course the riders. But I think I was expecting a little bit quicker race pace as Tony, again, just comfortable. It's a rhythm, isn't it, Jason?
It totally is. You're 100% right. There's been a couple times, Greg, when we've seen him come up in there. I'm like, oh, he's in deep. No, he just has it controlled. It's how he's able to get the bike stop, turn. Garrett Gerloff's first win is literally 20 yards in front of him right now, and he's doing everything he possibly can to get up there. But once he's there, it's going to be incredibly hard to make the pass. And if he does, he's got to be able to try to defend. Cameron Beaubier just hasn't seemed to be able to do anything even with his teammates. So you know both these guys are doing the absolute best they can. 25 ones from all three of our front runners right now. JD Beach is just now dropped off the back, 4.1. You can see as soon as Tony was able to say, all right, I'm ready to go now, he just immediately changed the way the race looked, and he's broke this front group up.
And Tony Elias's GSXR 1000 is coming off of turn 11 so strong at the moment that Garrett Gerloff needs the entire other 10 corners, or really 9 corners, because turn 1 is part of that whole deal, to try to make that back up. You saw heading to turn number 11 last time by that Gerloff had pretty much halved the distance. So
and Tony's able to just ride his normal way.
Yeah.
Right? So like you bring up a great point. Those guys are having to push so hard from top of turn 1 all the way to turn 11 just to kind of maybe close up 2-3 tenths to get back there. But then all of a sudden they get on that front straight. Tony's good out of the last corner. Very, very patient out of that turn 11, because you can see they've kind of closed back up a little. Not a lot, but a little bit. And but when they come down this turn into turn 10 now, and he's going to be coming to the white flag lap. He's very patient in this last corner, Greg. As you watch, he gets set up very soon. He releases the lever very early, and he gets a great drive out of there. And it's hard for these guys to do anything with him.
To the white flag, Tony Elias. It's waving, so this is it, the final lap for the Spaniard. The 2017 EBC Brakes Superbike champion, trying to regain his title. And this point spread, which if it remains this way, would be a 9-point advantage Tony's way over Cameron Beaubier, who's the next rider in this championship. As Beaubier sees his title hopes slipping away, there's still a lot of racing to go in this series, but...
No, but you're right, Greg. I mean, this is now, we saw a graphic earlier where it looked like it was going to be 31. Now this is going to make it somewhere in the 34 range. But more importantly, you look at what Garrett Gerloff's done here to get between those two guys. Garrett Gerloff is running a tremendous race. We can't take anything away from him because we know how good Cameron is. But Garrett's going to keep Tony Elias honest all the way to the finish here. But 25 flat, Greg.
25
from
flat.
both of these two front runners here on the last lap.
Down to Rainy Curve they go for the final time today in the EBC Brakes Superbike race number 1. Tony Elias, full lean angle, looks through the corner, turn number 10. He'll get on the binders hard for turn 11. Nobody close enough to throw a shot at him. He gets through the final corner clean. He goes to the stop. Number 1 in the air, and Tony Elias will take the checkered flag and the win here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Garrett Gerloff in second, Cameron Beaubier in third. JD Beach, you see he drifted back those last couple laps. Don't know if that maybe was a mistake. I saw him dip down into the 26s, high 26s and 27s.
Yep.
Here comes M4X Star Suzuki's Jake Lewis. Another top 5 finish for he and his crew. Best he felt on the motorcycle so far this season with their new electronics package. So a good run for Jake Lewis and great data to take back to the team that they can look at tonight.
He was there for a long time, Jake was. So just looking at his fast lap, 25.4. I mean, he's only half a second off best lap to best lap. It's just being able to put that last half of the race together.
And Jason, as we look at Tony Elias celebrating, we also look at our timing and scoring monitors. And David Anthony on the Fly Racing Kawasaki coming in 6th place. Great points haul for him ahead of Cam Peterson, who's had a bit of a struggling weekend, I think. He only got 9 laps in yesterday. Sam Bertorico will come in 8th place. Jeremy Coffey in 9th and Max Flinders in 10th. So exiting from this race, high attrition. Normally we don't see this, Jason, but it's going to be Matthew Skoltz, Jake Gagne, Josh Herron, Kyle Wyman, and Jason Uribe.
Heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters and non-finishers in this one, including a variety of manufacturers. You had Yamaha, BMW, Suzuki, Ducati, and Honda. All of them. All the manufacturers, unfortunately,
that's crazy,
won't score any points in this one. But this guy, maximum points value, 25 for his effort today. Josh Herron will be credited with the fastest lap of the race. That was back on lap 3 at a 1:24.934. But for Tony Elias, he did a 1:24.950 and with a 25.1. So, Jason, less than 0.2 of a second off of his fastest time on the last lap.
Crazy. And if you watched him, being savvy, he even went into turn 11 pretty tight, just in case somebody had closed up a little bit. And Tony's got to be careful here because it's, yeah, there you go. He could do it that way.
Oh, well,
Guys
there
are gonna
you go.
love it. Guys are going to love it.
Well, here's what's going on with Tony Elias, ladies and gentlemen, as he lays the bike down, all right? I can tell you that Tony is here at the track with his girl, his baby. He needed some sleep, so why not take a nap in the corkscrew on top of your GSX-R 1000?
Well, I was going to say, Tony's not the tallest guy in the world,
No.
so coming to a stop there, he's got to be a little careful, but he had something else better planned already, so that was good.
I wonder if, because the bike now touched the ground, if he's going to have to go through tech before he
go
takes
through
it to
Park
Park
Yeah,
Ferme.
exactly.
His
Retech
mechanics
that
are going,
bike.
please, Tony, don't scratch that foot peg. We're a factory bike here.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be clean, Mean Joe Green.
Yeah, like right now, he's just got all the momentum. I think that double win in Utah really did something for him and, gave him a lot of confidence. And you can see Cameron Beaubier, it looks like he's looking at the front tire, Greg. Maybe he was having some issues with the front.
Yeah, might have been working it pretty hard.
Yep.
A 26.2 on his last lap. So 1.2 adrift compared to, say, Tony Elias, who was only 0.2 Beaubier on that last lap. Just off the podium, JD Beach, unfortunately for him, looking for the podium today, but he's got another crack at it tomorrow. Tony Elias continues the celebration. Oh, he's going to do it.
Right in front of the Nicky. That's what he's probably looking up to. He got Nicky's number up on the hill. And did we talk to him about this? I mean, you and I have been pretty busy this weekend, but that is a Wayne Rainey replica looking helmet to me.
Yeah, it looks like
it. It definitely does, So, pretty cool.
As Wayne Rainey, of course, lives just over the hill here.
There you go. It says Wayne on the back.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty cool.
A nice shot of Wayne Rainey as you come up here in WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca up the tremendous hill to get in here.
There's Marco Melandri, who just announced that he's going to be his last year, but obviously Tony Elias knows a lot of people from the World Superbike paddock, so he's going to be stoked to do that in front of all them today.
Ducati World Superbike congratulating them as he makes his way to Park Ferme. We're going to hear from Tony Elias on his tremendous victory on the other side of this commercial break. We're back at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and the celebrations are getting ready to start, Jason Pridmore, on what was a spectacular race. 0.7 of a second, the margin of victory. But Cameron Beaubier was 2.4 behind, and he is with our Hannah.
Cam, you seem a little bit disappointed right now, despite a really, really good fight. And Greg and Jason even mentioned how calm you looked on the motorcycle.
I didn't feel like that at all. I'm pretty frustrated, to be honest. I had such a good day yesterday. I was feeling so good on my bike on Friday, and also this morning. I was putting up really, really good times this morning and yesterday, just consistently. And I couldn't even get within, half a second of what I was doing in practice. So kind of scratching my head a little bit, but we kept it on 2, and big thanks to my Monster Energy Yamalube Yamaha team, Bella Alpine Stars and Man Above for keeping all of us safe out here. All the fans for coming out to Laguna, and I'm gonna brush that one off and go get them tomorrow.
Thanks, Cam.
All right, so homework to do.
No, there's no question. I mean, Cameron doesn't just fall back in third like that. He obviously didn't have the feel today, didn't have the flow. And like you said, he knew the pace that he wanted to run, and he just wasn't able to get there. And, he tried everything he could to get there. He just wasn't able to do it today. Honestly, I feel like he did have a significant issue, problem, front feel, whatever it could be.
Like I said, Jay, we could tell from the lap times there. We thought that it was going to be a little bit quicker of a pace in terms of 24.9's the fastest. But let's get down to Hannah, who has our second place finisher, getting so close to that win, Hannah.
He is getting much, much closer. Still chasing that elusive win. You did put it on pole here this weekend. How are you feeling about second place right now?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, man, I felt like 9 out of the 11 corners here, like I had him beat. It was just, man, from the last corner and into turn 2, it would gap us enough to where we just couldn't catch him on the rest of the track where we were way faster. So, I mean, well played by him. Did the best out of all of us, I guess, as far as strategy goes. But, man, I feel really good. The bike feels awesome, and I really feel like we have made a lot of ground up, and I'm feeling super comfortable on the bike. And man, I thought today was the day, and I felt like I had it. Gosh, like But at least we have another race tomorrow, and just super excited to be up here on the podium, and feels good to be in the #1 Yamaha, which is always nice, but that #1 Yamaha spot deserves to be on first place. So that's what we'll try tomorrow. But thanks to the big thanks a lot to the whole team, Yamaha, Yamalu, Monster Energy, just everybody on the team, everybody that supports the team. You guys are the best. Thank you so much to HJC Helmets, GoreTech Leathers, CD Boots, everybody back home, friends and family. I'm really having a lot of fun out here, and I'm ready for tomorrow. So bring it on, guys. And I just got to give all the glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Thanks.
Thanks, Garrett.
Well, Jason, for a second place finish the way he's been lately, that's the most excited, like energetic. I shouldn't say excited.
And I'm happy for him.
Energetic, yeah.
But he knew that the guy in front of him was controlling the race, and he pushed him all the way to the end, didn't he, Greg? I mean, he was literally pushing Tony all the way to the end. He probably even saw Tony going a little bit tight, with Tony thinking, no, maybe Garrett has caught back up to me. So it's a great race for him.
Well, for Tony Elias, he did it the way he wanted to do it. The race unfolded. He had to scrap for it, no doubt about it. But when push came to shove in the later parts of the race, Tony Elias was there. He did the lap times, and he's with Hannah.
A very hard-fought battle from you, and a win in front of your son. He's here this weekend. That's got to feel pretty good. Tell us about your battle at the front.
Oh, you said that, and very. Yeah, it's been an amazing race. One of my best of my career, I think. The pace was good. I found the pace this morning. Not really good Super Bowl, but Cameron wanted to go at the beginning. I tried to stop, but I started to receive attacks, and I didn't have the super grip in the back. But after some laps, less fuel, the grip arrived. I start to attack too, do my rhythm. They are getting so strong, attacking so hard. And today I decide do the same. One attack, attack back, back attack. And well, it's been really difficult, but I could open a little bit the gap, and it's been amazing. Great battles, great show, the great wins. Thanks to my team for all this work, always being behind me. All the fans come here in Laguna. This is a nice track. Honor to win Rainy with this helmet. He said, now you have to win, and I did it, so very special, and especially because my family is here, my son is here. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Today's race winner, Tony Elias, hanging on to his championship points lead. Thanks, Tony.
I received attacks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, any attack back, and there's a reason why he's got the nickname the Scud Missile.
I love it.
And he is not afraid to attack back, and, hashtag attack back, because that's the story of this race with Tony Elias. He wasn't taking, and the thing with Tony is that when he gets attacked, Jason, he attacks immediately.
And not only does he attack immediately, but he does it in a way. Look how much space there is between those two bikes on the way in there. And this is Cameron Bobby trying to cut it back up underneath him. He does it in a way that nobody else can do. And it's going to be really interesting. When Tony is done racing, I would love to have a sit down with him and kind of ask him how he learned this way of doing things and riding. As you can see, he's pretty excited to be on top of his Yoshimura Suzuki in the corkscrew.
If I did that, my knees would be off the front. I mean, the whole bike. Here's a look at the results. Tony Elias over Garrett Gerloff by 7/10. Bobier drifted back 2.4. JD Beach, we'll have to find out what happened with him. 7.4 back, as he still has 2 more full races to go this weekend. Jake Lewis on the M4 Star Suzuki. Told you, David Anthony there in 6th. Congratulations to him. A good run. Cam Peterson, San Rico, and Jeremy Coffey. So
those guys actually finished. So
yeah,
it said DNF, but they actually did finish.
Yeah. So did Max Flinders.
Yep.
But then we had our non-finishers, which is Skull Scanye, Heron, Wyman, Uribe. So on back through the field. Hopefully Kyle Wyman's going to be okay on that one, Jay, because he looked like he was banged up pretty well.
Did.
And, you also have the consideration of how many parts are available on that bike.
Yep. Especially with a new motor. It's going to be a little bit of a discouraging thing for him, but hopefully Kyle will be back in the morning for our warm-up. As you can see, Tony going up.
Tony!
There he is.
That's a Cabbage Patch doll, I think, Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, that's his actual son.
The guy next to him, I'm very familiar with, too. Great to see Sean Storman up there with him. He got hired this year by Yoshimura to work on Tony's side of the crew. Moved to California, so nice to see him up there as well.
So Tony Elias trying to get on those signature glasses, but the glasses hit the deck instead of the kids. So Sean took the trophy for Tony, and he's pretty happy about that.
And got his manufacturer trophy, I think is what it was. Now Tony gets his trophy, and we get to see Tony's eyes instead of the big sunglasses that we've seen. Well, cool shot.
Tony Elias talking about his son. Hannah nearly had him emotional in that post-race interview there when she brought it up, but congratulations to Tony, a very proud father. And again, another month of diapers. Let's take a look at the championship.
Famous first call, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes. Right, exactly. Oh, wow, 226 now for Tony Elias. Cameron Beaubier, 35 adrift. And this is after 11 races of 20 this season. It's not like it's done and dusted by any stretch of the imagination, Jason. As we know, we've seen big points changes in World Championship 100%. Races, and it can definitely happen here in the EBC Brakes Superbike class.
It can always happen, but as a rider, Greg, when you know that you have a full race distance or a full race point gap, it just, there's something about it. It could go either way. For a guy like Tony Elias, it's going to be like, all right, now let's step on their throats. Now I can kind of go out there tomorrow and I can try to do the double. Let's increase that championship point lead to 40 or 40 plus if we can before we go off to Sonoma. And then we've got 3 rounds left. And then he can really try to manage what he wants to manage at that point.
Tony Elias celebrating with some champagne. We'll take a break. On the other side, keep going.